became aware of the sound of an engine somewhere in the distance. When I turned, I could see the Land Rover crossing the flooded causeway 200 yards away, Simone at the wheel. She came up out of the water and drove along the top of the dike. There wasn't much that I could do except put my head on the block like an officer and a gentleman, so I came up out of the reeds fast, grabbed for the shotgun, and ran along the dike waving my arms at her, expecting a bullet between the shoulder blades at any moment. It was really very interesting. One bullet kicked dirt to the left of me, another to the right. I was aware of Simone's face, wild-eyed in astonishment, and then as she braked to a halt, a third round drilled a hole through the windscreen to one side of her. She stumbled out, white with fear. Another round thumped into the door panel behind her, and I grabbed her hand and dragged her down over the edge of the dike into the cover of the reeds. She went in deep and surfaced, gasping for breath, her long dark hair plastered about her face. Another bullet slammed into the body of the Land Rover. She grabbed at the front of my jacket in blind panic. "What is it? What's happening?" I took her hand, turned, and pushed through the reeds until I was back in my original position. Another shot sliced through the reeds overhead, and Simone ducked instinctively, going under again. She surfaced, her face streaked with filth, and I took a couple of waterproof cartridges from one of my pockets and loaded the shotgun. "He's good, isn't he?" "For God's sake, Oliver," she said. "What is all this? Who's out there?" "Now, there you have me," I said. "He's a professional, I know that, but for the rest, it's really rather peculiar. You see, I have the distinct impression that he could have killed me any one of a dozen times and didn't. I wonder why." Her mouth opened in astonishment. The wide eyes above the high cheekbones widened even more. She said in a hoarse voice, "You're actually enjoying this." "Well, it's certainly enlivened a rather dull afternoon, you must admit that." Our friend fired again, shooting off the right-hand leg of the easel so that it toppled over the dike into the water. "Damn his eyes," I said. "I like that painting. It was coming along fine. The way you were soaking the blues into the background wash was particularly pleasing." She turned, her face contorted with fear, looking as if she might break into pieces at any moment. "Please, Oliver, do something. I can't take any more of this." The wine bottle exploded like a small bomb, showering glass everywhere, staining the white cloth scarlet. "Now that really does annoy me," I said. "Lafite 1961. A really exceptional claret. I was going to surprise you. Here, hold this." I gave her the shotgun and took off my hunting jacket. "What are you going to do?" she demanded. I told her, and when I'd finished, she seemed a little calmer, but was still obviously very frightened. I kissed her briefly on the cheek. "Can you handle it?" She nodded slowly. "I think so." I slipped the jacket over the muzzle of the shotgun and eased it up over the top of the reeds. There was an immediate shot, and as the jacket was whipped away, I cried out in simulated agony. I turned to Simone, who waited, white-faced, waist-deep in that foul water. "Now!" I whispered. She screamed out loud, scrambled up onto the dike, got to her feet, and started the run toward the Land Rover. He fired once, chipping a stone a couple of yards in front of her. It was all it took, and she stopped dead, crying out in fear, and stood there, waiting for the axe to fall. There was a movement in the reeds to my right, and then boots crunched in the gravel of the dike top. "What happened?" a voice called in French. He moved past me toward her, a young, sallow-faced man with shoulder-length hair and a fringed beard. He wore a reefer jacket and rubber waders and carried the Lee Enfield at waist level. The oldest trick in the book. And he'd fallen for it. I slipped up out of the reeds and moved in close. I don't know whether it was the expression on Simone's face, or, more probably, the distinct double click as I cocked the shotgun, but in any event, he froze. I said in French, "Now put it down very carefully like a good boy, and clasp your hands behind your neck." I knew he was going to shoot by the way his right shoulder started to lift, which was a pity because he didn't really leave me much choice. He turned, crouching, to fire from the hip, and Simone screamed. Having little choice in the matter, I gave him both barrels in the face, lifting him off his feet and back over the edge of the dike into the reeds. The marsh came alive again, birds rising out of the reeds in alarm, calling.